I would like to call the July 12, 2023 public meeting concerning the 2023 and 2024 federal grant applications to order. It is 5:30 p.m. There is a quorum present, and notice of this meeting has been posted in a time and manner required by law. Mr. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Scott Carson.
Present.
Mr. Coach Charles Perry.
Present.
Mr. Kyle Holtmeyer.
Present.
Ms. Paulette Traylor.
Present.
Ms. Nikita Lagway.
Present.
Missing members is Cliff Williams, and my name is Chad Jones. Thank you.
At this time, we will have Mrs. Patricia Lynn present our 23-24 federal grant applications.
Good evening, President Hagemeyer, board members, Ms. Goolsby, Ms. Rogers. We are here tonight to give you the information and to have public comments for our federal grant application for the 23-24 school year. Each year, we are required, before the application is submitted, to have a reasonable opportunity for public comment on this application and to consider those comments as such prior to submitting the application. These are the grants that Willis ISD will be applying for in the upcoming school year as part of the application. This is part of the ESSA, which is Every Student Succeeds Act. We have the Title I grant, Part A, Improving Basic Programs. And what I have here on this first page is just an overview along with the funds, and then we will touch more about what each one of those federal funds stand for. We have for Title I Part A, $1,541,008. Title II Part A, Supporting Effective Instruction, $296,834. Title III Part A, our English Language Acquisition, $129,168. Title IV Part A, Subpart 1, $113,500. Then we have also our Idea B, which is part of our special education grants. The formula grant at $1,547,256. Idea B is for our preschool, $24,520, and then Perkins 5, which is our career technology education, at $87,883. When we break down our Title I, we have 4 elementaries that receive Title I. That is based on the number of students, the percentage of students from low-income families. With that, it provides supplemental resources to help schools with high concentrations of students that acquire the knowledge and skills in the state content standards and to meet those performance standards. Some of the purchases that are made with those funds include instructional supplies and materials, books for the literacy lab, professional development for principals and teachers. Some of our salaries come from those funds, homeless and neglected, and then we also have parent-family engagement events and trainings. In Title II, Part A, that's supporting our effective instruction. That is to increase student achievement through improving teacher and principal quality and increasing the number of highly qualified teachers in classrooms and highly qualified principals in the schools. Now, in our Title II, some of the things our district provides would be professional development. It includes the Rice Executive Institute for principal trainings. It also includes our math conferences that our teachers and coaches go to, along with our science conferences, just a few examples that we're able to do through Title II. Now, we are also required by federal guidelines for any private nonprofit whose school resides in our boundaries, we have to extend the invitation and they can apply for federal funds that come from Willis ISD, from our total amount. And we do have 2 in the district that have applied and met those guidelines to receive a portion of our federal funds. They applied for Title II, Part A. That is Covenant Christian School with 444 enrolled. They will receive $12,000 of that total amount. And Lifestyle Christian School with 33 enrolled will receive $3,000 of our Title II allotment. Our Title III, Part A, is English Language Acquisition. This is for programs to develop for limited English proficient students to attain English proficiency, to develop high levels of academic attainment, and to meet the state content standards and student achievement standards. Some of the things that we plan to use those funds for, we have a bilingual instructional coach that works with our teachers and students. We pay for salaries, we pay for instructional supplies, professional development for teachers, and for our ESL and sheltered instruction as well. Title IV is our student support and academic enrichment. That is to improve students' academic achievement by providing all students with access to well-rounded education, to improve school conditions, which is our safe and healthy schools for student learning, and then to improve the use of technology. Items that we are asking to purchase through those funds include our Care Solace, which is part of our counseling program, to provide training and opportunities for our teachers through those counseling opportunities, as well as our counselors, to extend enrichment opportunities and advanced academics using Title IV funds. Also, we have our Idea B, that formula that we talked about earlier. These funds are designed to support special education related services for students ages 3 through 21. And that is that Idea B. Idea B preschool are designated to support special education and related services for children ages 3 through 5. And then just to be a little more in-depth on Perkins 5, it's dedicated to increasing learner access to high-quality career and technology education programs of study. And some of the things that align with those funds would be our first robotics dues, industry-based certification, those exams that they take, software subscriptions and renewals for the classroom, and then any professional development that aids those teachers as well. Those are the grants that we are applying for this year through the application, and some of the ways we plan to spend those. And I'll open that up to any questions the board may have, and then turn it over to public comments.
How successful have we been in the past getting all these grants?
With the application, because it's based on our enrollment and our need, we've been very successful. We've always received our grants and the allotment that they've.
Good deal. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Perfect. So at this time, we're going to turn it over to public comments in relation to what was just presented. Being no public comments, we'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Yes, sir, Mr. Carson.
Move that we adjourn the meeting in regards to the federal grant application.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. It is 5:38 p.m. I would like to call the July 12th regular meeting to order. It is 5:38 p.m. There is a quorum present, and notice of this meeting has been posted in time and manner required by law. Mr. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Scott Carson,
Present.
Mr. Charles Perry, Mr. Kyle Hickemeyer,
Present.
Ms. Paulette Traylor,
Present.
Ms. Nikita Lagway.
Present.
My name is Chad Jones. Missing member is Mr. Cliff Williams.
Perfect. So we have one person who is signed up for public comments. The board will hear public comments from the audience during the public comment portion of the meeting. Groups of more than 5 people who wish to express the same viewpoint on an issue must appoint a representative to speak, and the group will then have 3 minutes to present unless the topic is an item on the board agenda. Please respect the privacy of others and refrain from identifying students, employees, other community members by name. I will determine whether the speaker has attempted to solve a matter administratively through the resolution channels established by policy. If not, the speaker will be referred to the appropriate policy to seek resolution. Disruption of this meeting will not be tolerated. Per board policy, the board does not respond during public comments. Tonight, we have one person signed up for public comments, Ms. Diane Hibner.
My topic this evening is thinking out of the box. What an opportunity you, the board, missed by not thinking out of the box in your recent decision for the interim superintendent. Instead of finding a retired superintendent who would be willing to assume a short-term position, you chose a person who is a product of our past decisions, focus, and poor management style. A perfect example of the Peter Principle. I am disappointed that you missed the opportunity to gain new insight on what we as a district could do to improve ourselves. However, this is all water under the bridge. So let's look forward to seeing how we can change our direction. My research on how other school districts approach the decision of a new superintendent provided the following processes which would require thinking out of the box. Number one, you need to know what the Willis community wants in a superintendent. Therefore, hold a public forum to gain some insight into their ideas. Number two, develop a list of criteria for the superintendent who will fit the needs of the district's educational goals, the goals of our students, teachers, parents, and the members of the community. We are interested in cohesiveness, not divisiveness. Example of this criteria would include the following: A, personal qualities; B, educational philosophy; C, business and accounting background, which is a must; D, programs to establish student and parental support; E, teacher and administrative strategies; F, philosophy and strategies regarding discipline. Number three, hire a new headhunter or search firm. Out with the old and in with the new. 4, create an interview select committee composed of members of the community, such as A, teachers, new as well as seasoned ones; B, students, recognize leaders as well as the students of the month from the 2022-23 school year; C, parents, should include those who have questioned the district's past direction; D, businessmen, businesswomen, experienced in recruiting and evaluating hires. Should not be non-contractual individuals who are not associated with school business. Community leaders, religious, political, and media. F, just plain folk who are interested in the direction of education in the children of the nation.
Thank you, Ms. Hibner.
Is the time up? Okay, I want you, number 5, let me just do 5. Members of the board, you need to visit the towns of residents of those being considered and talk to the baker and the candlestick maker. And as a review of this, I have for each one of you a primer on how to select a superintendent. And this is from my research that I have done. And also for those who do not understand what the Peter Principle is, I have a definition of that.
The board will now convene into closed session for purposes of considering matters for its board, for which closed sessions are authorized by Title V, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, Section .071 through .0129. A, attorney consultation regarding legal issues pertaining to superintendent search and transitional authority, Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.129. Trustees may convene into closed session to discuss the value of legal issues and options related to the possible sale, lease, or other disposition of the properties owned by Willis ISD, including an 18-foot wide along the boundary of a 50.9 acre tract situated in the William Weir Survey Abstract 42, file 201-002-4266 in the deed records of Montgomery County, Texas, Texas Government Code 551.071, 551.129, and 551.1.072, and discuss teacher resignations and employee appointments, Texas Government Code 551.074. It is 5:45 p.m. The board will now reconvene into open session. It is 7:37 p.m. Are there any motions from closed session? None. Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Coach Glenn, will you do the honors? Please remain standing.
Dear Heavenly Father, I want to tell you thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the traveling grace you gave us to the admin building. Please allow us to have the traveling grace back on. Once again, we ask that you just be with us today. Be with every other decision that we do make. I want you to know that you have control over everything that we do. There's no search firm better than you, Lord. We know that you have your hands all over this district and on everything that we do today. We ask right now that you give us wisdom. Not knowledge, but wisdom. We're going to gain wisdom from you and your word. Just give everybody wisdom to make this place great, to do everything that's in your name. Not in our name, Lord, but in your name, as you're the only one that can make this place greater than what it is already. I want to thank you for the young minds that we have to impact every single day. And every choice we make here will impact their lives. Not just to be just a great at the grades, 2 + 2 = 4, Lord, does not mean anything as us raising great young men and great young ladies in this community. I want to thank you for everything you've done, everything you are doing, and everything you will do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
All right. So, standing information and ad hoc items, a child nutrition update.
At this time, we will ask Mr. Michael Northey to come up and present our child nutrition update.
Good evening, Board. So every time we'll try to, we've been doing a lot of projects in child nutrition, and I just want to show y'all what we've been doing and, how many meals we serve a year and those kind of things. So if I look through, this is our staff members. These are all our managers. And then there's that. And here's our kitchen improvements. So as you see, we have Lynn Lucas serving line right there. We have Party, and then we also have Eric Turner, and then Brabham, when we did Brabham. So the ones we have in process right now, we still have Willis High School, and then we have CC Hardy. Or no, Cannon. And then we're pretty much done. Throughout the year, I've replaced 13 ovens, 5 dish machines, and 7 serving lines, and then the high school snack bar with our funds that we've used. And then we have served over 976,329 meals for lunch and 218 breakfasts. And our participation for breakfast is 41%, and then our lunch participation is 63%. And then this is kind of our highlights right there that we do. We've been doing a lot of ground beef burgers. We've been doing a lot of frozen burgers, ground beef, and those kind of things. So I just wanted to keep you updated. And then later on tonight, we're going over a policy update 121 for TASB, and we're going to increase our $5 charge limit to $10 just so we can alleviate those students' pressure on them. Do you have any questions? Okay.
I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Northey, what you've done. I don't think many kids get to eat like they do in Willis ISD, and part of that's because of your innovative approach and being efficient and effective with funds. And none of the lines around that I've seen look like the lines you've really created and developed.
We like to, we have the money to spend it. I'd love to have the best lines that we can have. So
You did an outstanding job with all of that.
thank you.
Item B, 2023 and 2024 student dress code.
We're going to bring up Mr. Brad Mansfield, our Executive Director of Student Services, to present our 23-24 student dress code information item.
Good evening, Mr. President, Board of Trustees, Ms. Goolsby, Carol. So in your packet is the dress code for the 23-24 school year. There are no changes to it from the previous year, and the reason why we want to bring it to you is to inform you that the plan is to get this out to parents in our back-to-school website packet to let them know that this is the dress code for next year as they start buying clothes this time of year. Typically, this is in the student handbook. Student handbook TASB update just came out this week. You'll have that at the August board meeting, so we won, like last year. We were trying to get this to you a month ahead of time, so we can then, with your grace, just send it out to the community and say, this is what our dress code will be for this year. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. There's no action needed.
Item C, safety performance report.
The reports in front of you are your safety performance for June 2023.
Financial and bill payment.
The reports in front of you are your June financial bill payments.
Item E, bond summary reports.
That's also your bond summary report for June.
Item F, investment report.
In front of you, you have your numbers for your investment report for June.
Item G, budget update number 2.
We're going to bring up Mr. Monte, our Assistant Superintendent, Business and Finance, to give us our number 2, a budget update.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Goolsby. Good evening, Board. Ms. Carroll. I'm here tonight to present the second budget workshop as we continue to navigate the budget through this summer. Last month, we primarily focused on district revenue. Tonight, we're going to take a look at what makes up our primary expenditures. We are going to review property values and talk about the latest legislative update from the state, as well as review all adopted budgets. Additionally, last month we had a couple questions about property insurance. We are going to take a few moments to review our current policy. The board also is going to be approving our Blue Cross Blue Shield renewal later this evening. Take a few minutes to review our district health insurance. First, we're going to take a review a few of our building blocks for our district budget. We went over these last month. Nothing's changed since then, but they are important to note. We are building this budget projecting a 2.9% growth in average daily attendance. Based off our preliminary property values, the district's projected tax rate will be set at 1.0746. That is an 8-cent decrease over the prior year and over a 31-cent decrease over the last 5 years. I will talk about this in another slide or two, but based off the last legislative update that they made, this number could actually change. They're talking about compressing even further. I should know that number here in the next few weeks. Property values, based off our preliminary property values estimates, the 2023 taxable property value is up approximately 12.16%. That's quite a contrast to last year where we were over 38%. I think the market's slowing down appropriately. Protests are still ongoing. Certified values are due from the county on July 25th. I did receive an update from the appraisal district yesterday. They are at 86.7% certified as of yesterday, which is further along than they've been in prior years, so they're on pace to hit the July 25th target date. So state legislation update. As I mentioned, as of this week, the state has passed an $18 billion tax cut legislation with 3 primary updates that will affect our funding in one way or another. They have allocated $12 billion will be spent on reducing the school property tax rate for homeowners and businesses. So as I just mentioned, that affects our M&O rate. Right now, it's projected to compress 8 cents. It could, once they release those numbers here in the next few weeks, it could compress even further since this has passed. I'm waiting to get that information. The homestead exemption is also set to be increased from 40,000 to 100,000. I've been told that will go into effect this tax year. So that's also something that's going to be updated on our tax rolls. And there's also some increase for non-homestead properties as well. Overall, while the new legislation provides tax relief and shifts a portion of the tax burden, it does not provide any new increase for school finance funding formula. Now, what does that mean for us? If you look at the projected budget that I presented to you last month, I was projecting almost 70% funded from local revenue sources, that being local taxes. The legislative update will provide relief to taxpayers, which is, I think we can all agree, is a great thing. But what this update does is essentially shifts where I'm showing 69.6% from local revenue, is going to shift that number down, and the state's going to put more into the pot, and the state portion will go up as a result of this update. To review the general fund budget, these numbers have not changed since last month, but as we discussed, depending on when this legislation goes into effect, our revenue could shift a little bit. However, I'm still building the budget on just under $81.5 million. Last month, we focused on district revenue, but I want to take a quick look at the makeup of our expenditures. As you can see, over 84 of our district budget is made up of payroll and benefits. As a school district, our primary expense is people, our teachers and our district staff, and the majority of our resources, our financial resources, go directly for this purpose. Our operating budgets are made up of campus and departmental budgets, as well as overall district costs, utilities, insurance premiums, fuel, just to name a few of the larger ones. For example, the district will spend over $2 million this year on electricity cost alone, and that comes out of that second bucket, operating budget. To offer a little clarity on when I talk about payroll and benefits, this is what I mean. Of course, salaries for our professional and hourly staff is included in this. Any board-approved stipends, district health insurance contribution comes out of the payroll budgets. Payroll fees such as unemployment, Medicare, TRS, and substitute pay is also included in these figures. Unfortunately, when it comes to compensation plans for the 23-24 school year, there have been no changes since last month's presentation. Due to current revenue projections, we still cannot recommend a percentage raise increase for Willis ISD employees. However, we do have access to funds, some ESSER funds to utilize for one-time payments for district staff. We also have the ability to revisit the compensation plans if the state does come back and do something in a special session. Currently, all staff returning to Willis ISD for the 23-24 school year are those that would be eligible for a percentage raise will receive $2,500 for each teacher, professional, or exempt employee, and also $1,500 for each non-exempt hourly or part-time employee. The district also has the resources available to offer an additional retention payment in December of this year if the board chooses to approve that. We are currently putting that together and we'll have it ready for your approval as early as next month.
Outstanding.
But if we do have the funds available, as far as what that would look like, what I'm projecting to look like would be $1,500 to each teacher, professional, exempt employee, and $1,000 to each hourly and non-exempt. And just to give you a glimpse, I know I showed you all this last month, but to give you a glimpse of what that looks like compared to a percentage raise, as far as the $2,500 August retention and the potential $1,500 December would be $4,000 total. And that's over 7% for a first-year teacher and just under 7% for a 10th-year teacher. So while we obviously not the position we want to be in where we can't give percentage raises, we do want to utilize these funds for our teachers. To move on to our child nutrition budget, I do anticipate that there will be no issues balancing the budget for the upcoming year. We actually received our federal reimbursement rate from USDA yesterday, so we're working on updating these figures. However, the numbers are only going to improve from the current scenario that's on your screen and what I presented last month. They're only going to get a little bit better. I did want to make note, given that Child Nutrition Fund is its own separate fund, there is a chance that we will be able to increase the pay scales for child nutrition employees since the funds are available. Michael's already been working hard. He's already taken care of a significant amount of the capital projects he just showed you. So I have no budgetary concerns using those available funds to increase those pay scales if the board chooses to approve that. We are reviewing those scenarios and we will be able to present those to y'all next month. For debt service, no changes again from last month. Based on the current funding picture, I anticipate no issues balancing that budget. If you remember, we did have a planned deficit for the current year. It was planned, but everything else staying the same. We will return to a balanced budget for the 23-24 school year with $20.8 million. Property insurance. Last month, we briefly discussed our property insurance and our deductible increases. I wanted to give you a view of what those looked like. Overall, our premium did increase over $56,000 from last year to this year. However, the bigger impact is our deductible increasing for weather perils from $500,000 to $1 million. That's shown in that red line right there. I do want to say, last month I did misspoke, and I said that the claim from the fire for the Lynn Lucas concessions would be affected by that. I did double check, and that would actually not be the case, because that would not be considered a weather peril. That would be considered a not weather peril, so that would still be covered under the $25,000 deductible. However, the change would be that freeze and freeze damage would now be included in weather. So we had a claim in 2020. It was just over $350,000 for, Tyler can correct me, I believe it was coils that froze during that freeze. And that would now be considered a weather peril, and that if that happened now, we would be out of pocket for those expenses. But the fire would be covered under $25,000. Health insurance, later on this evening, there's probably just in a few minutes, Walker & Associates will be presenting our health insurance renewal for your approval. On that topic, I wanted to take a few minutes to review the district's health insurance. Last year, we increased the district contribution from $400 to $450 a month per employee on the district's plan. We also increased the employee premiums as shown, with the main impact being the employee only increasing it to $50 per month. However, for this year, for 23-24, we are recommending no change to those figures. There are two primary reasons for that. First, with the budget being a little tighter this year, we could not take on the additional budgetary burden of increasing the district contribution beyond its current level. Secondly, in a year where we do not foresee being able to give percentage raises to employees, we did not want to increase the employee premiums that would further reduce their take-home pay. So we chose it was best to leave it at its current level for now. That being said, while we do view the renewal to be favorable, costs, like everywhere else, are increasing. Part of what they will show you tonight is a funding summary that reflects a potential deficit of about $114,000. I do want to say that entirely depends on what the claims are for the year. It could be more, it could be less. That's how the health insurance operates. It just depends on, we could have a heavy claims year, we could have a light claims year, and we've had some of both. It's been more heavy lately, unfortunately, but we've had some of both the last 5 years. But that being the case, I just wanted to explain if we did go into a deficit, what our options would be. First, the health insurance plan has a fund balance of about $1.8 million. If we did find ourselves where we did run a deficit, it would just reduce that fund balance amount. Also, the district, we have a very healthy fund balance in the general fund, over $45 million. If it was the best option at the time, and depending on the amount, the board also has the ability to transfer from general fund to cover any deficit or to assist the health insurance fund if it needed. Be happy to answer any questions.
State's driving me crazy right now.
They are.
I know I've never watched so much in my life, so.
I keep waiting for something new, and it's unfortunately not happened yet, but they are.
Yes, sir.
And Garrett will need to, we'll be back in August for the third and final, is that correct?
Yes, we'll be third and final. We'll be adopting the budget in August. We'll adopt the tax rate in August. We'll be presenting pretty much all the final budgetary items that need to be approved.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think next is the Willis ISD Wellness Center update.
Yes. That you?
I just wanted to introduce Miss Jenny Buchla. I did I butcher that. I apologize if I did, but she's with Premise Health, who maintains our district wellness center, and she's going to give you all an update on our wellness center.
Thank you.
This is the clip right here. We can use.
All right, let's do this up and see. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to come in front of you this evening. It is my pleasure to screw this up already. Can somebody help me with
I think she's getting it.
Yeah, it was glitching. She's fixing
Thank
it.
you. So my understanding is these presentations have been provided to you in the past, so I would think that some of this might be familiar to you. Oh, yes, thank you.
That's the last one.
Sorry.
That's it.
Is that? Okay, it should be this one now.
Thank you. So this, I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Is it?
I'm starting.
I think that. She might have to manually do it for you.
Okay. There we go. I'm Jenny Buchla, Director of Clinic Operations. I have several clinics in the Texas area, and Willis ISD Employee Wellness Center is one of them. My boss is here as well, Lauren Jackson. She's the Associate Vice President of Operations. So I'm going to go through this in respect for your time. I'll go a little quickly, but please stop me if you have any questions. Okay. So next slide, please. So the services overview, just to level set the things that we provide to the employees and spouses and dependents of Willis ISD. The biometric screenings and health risk assessments. I don't know if you're familiar, but we conducted about 23 events in May, and we loved working with Lucy, and we believe that it was a very, very successful endeavor. I think it might be one of the best years for involvement in the biometric screenings. We do condition management, we offer lab services, we offer the comprehensive gamut of primary care. We're currently using SaveRx, which is a home delivery prescription system. We provide wellness coaching, women's health, virtual and phone visits, and then I'll share with you a little information about our portal and our app. Next slide, thank you. So this information in front of you right now is for the 6-month period ending February 28th, 2023. We saw an average, we saw that there was an average of 839 employees. Our capacity at the clinic was just above 68%. Our member satisfaction came in at 88%. And during that 6-month period, there were 150 health conditions discovered for projected cost avoidance of about $800,000. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is just a little bit of a deeper dive into that 6-month period where you can see during the months how busy we were, during the day of the week, how busy we were, whether we were doing biometric screenings, which you can see was about 11% during that time period, and then the bulk of our services were primary care. Again, at the bottom left, you can see the visit density, just showing you how busy we are during the day of the week. And then the bottom right is showing you how many people we saw during, again, that period of time that were either acute conditions or chronic conditions. And you can see that those chronic people have more visits over the 6-month period, so that we're really making sure that the medications and all that is working well for them. Thank you. So I wanted to show you, I'm not sure you have had a chance to see this. So this is as of March 1st through June of 2023. Our capacity at the clinic is at 84%, which we consider excellent. Again, you can see the heat map in the middle, shows you time of day, day of week, where we're most busy. Off to the right shows you the day of the week where we're staying busy. And then on the bottom, you can see the capacity by month. Next slide, please. I'm thrilled to share this information with you. So 92.70% of the folks are using what we call the My Premise Health portal, which is an application through Epic so that they can see all their test results. They can message their provider. They can make their appointments. They can manage family members' appointments and care. So it's a very active population, and we're just thrilled to see that because it really does make accessing us much easier. Our wait time has been under a minute. And then off to the left in the pie, you can see the number of unique members we've seen in March, April, May, June. What is it, 4 months? How many new members we saw, the visits, the provider visit breakdown, and then the unique members that were using the My Premise Health app. Am I going too fast or too slow? Good. Okay. Really wanted to share this information with you. Not sure you've seen this before, if you're familiar with HEDIS measures, but the HEDIS measures are, yeah, I see something nodding in your head, right? These are countrywide lofty goals, and these goals are lofty because if we can do this, then we're really, really taking care of everybody and ultimately saving money. So I wanted to share with you, literally, these are the scores from the team at the clinic. You can see under the chronic conditions where the HEDIS measure is and where our team results are as of June 2023. They have not been working on these very long, and they are very, very dedicated to meeting or beating these goals by the end of the year. Any questions? Thank you. Next slide, please. And then last but not least, I wanted to share with you the member satisfaction results. Again, this is all actual. This is from March through June of 2023. Everything is really looking very, very good. The performance of the team is great. Appointment availability, might want to see that just a little bit better. You know, unfortunately, we know we're starting to go into a quiet time for the clinic, which is this summer. So certainly appointment availability will be very high. Overall comfort, you've given us a beautiful space to work in, and it shows in the member satisfaction results. And then the quality of medical care, 100% considered either excellent or very good. And then last but not least, this next slide. This is actual member, we call member, your employees, your employee spouses or dependents, written feedback on the surveys that they are asked to complete. And so I wanted to share this with you. I've literally shared 100% of the feedback that we've received, and it is all very, very positive. I particularly like, one of the comments is, you know, if I went to go see a primary care physician out in the community, I'd have to wait a really long time. They're getting the exact same services, if not better, for a very, you know, within a reasonable amount of time. That wait time is excellent. So, again, I'm very proud of the team that we have there. And that is the entirety of my presentation. Unless you have any questions. Thank you again for letting me share this with you. Appreciate it.
Are there any questions about the consent agenda? Do we have a motion? Mr. Carson.
Move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Mr. Jones. Is there any further questions? All those in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Discuss and consider possible action items. A, discuss and consider approval of 2023-2024 health insurance program.
We would like to invite our reps from our partners through our health insurance program and consider our 23-24 approval process.
Thank you, Acting Superintendent Goolsby. Appreciate that, and board members and President Hoegmeyer. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I'm Laura Gwaltney with Walker & Associates. We're your insurance consultant, and we handle the oversight for the health plan. And I appreciate Jenny being here. She makes our job a lot easier. At the end of the day, the fact that you are carving out primary care and acute care and episodic care from the retail market is saving you a tremendous amount of money. The clinic was started in 2014. That was my first year here with Willis. So it's been interesting to watch it grow all of this time, become very successful. And the $800,000 that she mentioned is the soft savings from the interventions that are seen in the clinic. So sometimes when people do their HRA for the first time, they're recognizing that they are pre-diabetic or they are a heart patient and really need to be seen by a cardiologist. But all of those early interventions are also what we call early diagnosis, which ends up saving the health plan a lot of money because those people typically don't end up being catastrophic if they're managed and maintained over time. And that's what you're doing with the clinic here at Willis ISD. Okay, so we're gonna review your health plan. Typically, we like to go back to the beginning. So what we're gonna start with is a review of how your year ended last year, so that you can see that before we talk about how the plan is performing in this 6-month reporting period, and then we'll talk about the renewal. So this shows a snapshot of how your plan ran in 21-22. So the insurance company, in this case Blue Cross Blue Shield, sets the maximum liability at $7.3 million for that year. Your expected liability, which is where most plans typically run, if you're running at max, you're experiencing a lot of catastrophic and high-cost claimants. You had some of that this year. Last year, not as much. So you actually ran under your expected liability in 21-22 at $6,067,287. So about $500,000 under your maximum or under expected. So you received a stop loss reimbursement. So whenever the health plan has a catastrophic claim that goes up to a certain dollar threshold, your liability stops and the insurance company pays you back. So in this year, you received $246,000 in reimbursements on high-cost claimants. You had an average employee enrollment of 1,001 and over 1,500 members. 75% of every dollar was spent on claims. So that's a good rule of thumb. That's what we really want to see your money being spent on, as opposed to fixed costs. We want it to be spent on your members and your employees. Your self-funded savings in just that one plan year was $1.2 million. And over time, you've saved millions of dollars by being self-funded. So this has been a great savings to the district. We will now look at your 6 months. So we're 6 months into this health plan year. And right now your total net plan cost is sitting at $3 million, which is roughly about half of where you were last year. So you're running well. Your total paid claims increased 58% compared to the previous reporting period, and that is due to high cost claimants. Your overall in-network savings average is 63%. Inpatient at 53, outpatient at 72, and professional at 66. These are excellent discounts, and that's one of the reasons why you have stayed with Blue Cross as long as you have. The inpatient and outpatient discounting is very, very good, and that's really how you save the dollars on claims. So every year we look at the stop loss insurance, which is your fixed cost. Claims are claims. But doing things like putting in an on-site clinic is exactly how you carve out and save money. because those claims are not running through the retail portion of the plan. You're getting those at a carved out almost wholesale cost. Your self-funded savings since 2014 is $8.4 million. And if we move into the high cost claimants, this is the driver of most health plans. Your high cost claimants were 0.5%, only 5 claimants in the population, which accounted for almost 60% of the spend, a 58% increase from previous reporting period. So if we look at your top high cost claimant category, perinatal. So that is the birthing of a child. You guys have a large female population, so there are gonna be instances where the birth of a child might be a difficult or a catastrophic situation, in which case they can be very expensive. So your top claimant this reporting period was that $1.3 million perinatal claim. Next to that, infectious and parasitic disease at $283,000, blood circulatory at $149,000, $72,000, and the nervous system at $64,000. Your top diagnosis this time around was digestive as the most costly, although the paid per member per month increased up to $18, a 28% increase over the previous reporting period. Several diagnostic categories actually fell, and those included endocrine, injury and poisoning, and respiratory. Your overall membership has decreased by 5.2% from the previous reporting period. Your average member age is 35.3 years, and your membership breakdown obviously employees 67%, spouses at 5%, and dependents at 26%. Pharmacy is an area where we really want to continue to focus our efforts because the increase in trend in pharmacy is about double of that in medical, really due mostly to high cost specialty medications. And when we say specialty, more than likely it has a commercial attached to it. Anybody here heard of Ozempic? That's the #1 drug in every group this year. You want to know why? Weight loss. It's really a diabetic medication, but it has the side effect of weight loss. So it has become the #1 medication in every group. So this is an area where we always have to be vigilant and focused on how to save dollars. So important that we continue to look at that every year. Blue Cross is great in that they produce multiple formularies. So there would be maybe an opportunity to go to a tighter formulary if we see cost increasing. So pharmacy is an area where we always keep a tight microscope. So for this year, your pharmacy paid per member per month increased by 61% compared to the previous reporting period. Specialty drugs were 57% of the pharmacy spend, and 38% increase over prior reporting period. Your generic dispensing rate is very good at 85%, and what that means is we want to see more people using generic medications. They're less costly, and they're very available, but not every condition can use a generic medication or has a generic equivalent available, but we do encourage that. Our next slide, we're just going to look at, I know some of you are newer to the board, so sometimes it helps to have a little bit of a history behind the health plan. So this goes all the way back to 2015 when we added the high value network. And a high value network is based on outcomes. So providers actually get reimbursed on how well patients do. It's also a huge savings to the plan. The savings by adding the high value network as of last year was almost $5 million. So it's a very great thing that we moved to that on one of the plans. So we added that same year, and this is the year that we made major changes. And TRS turned around 3 years later and made these same changes to their plan to try to deal with the shortfall and the problems that they were having in the pool. So Willis was a trendsetter in that way because we were on top of it. So you added prescription step therapy, prior authorization. Prior auth is a gatekeeping. These are all cost containment ways of saving money. So prior authorization means that if a member's gonna have a high dollar service, like a surgery or an MRI or a PET scan, they have to go through a prior authorization process before the plan will approve it. Okay, so it's a cost containment measure. FastPath is a program that takes new to the market medications and again puts them into the prior auth category. So that way members can't just automatically go to the most costly medication. Same thing with covering only generic PPIs and pain relievers. These are things that you can get readily out on the over-the-counter market. So it didn't make sense for health plans to continue to cover the cost of those when people can go out there and get them at CVS. So these are definitely all things that we put into place in 2015, 2016 that have saved the plan money. And you can see as a result, we've had to make very few plan adjustments and or adjustments to funding over the last several years because of that. So this year we are not recommending any additional changes to funding or plan design. Any questions about any of that? I know you guys have been here a while already, so we'll go. So we just like to always show your premiums up against TRS because that's typically where most of your new teachers are coming from, maybe a district that was in the pool. So in terms of recruiting and hiring, it's important that these premiums stay low. And I know for the first time in a long time, you guys did an increase last year because that employee only on Plan 1 used to be 0. And we really don't see that much anymore. It used to be really kind of just in the governmental entities, counties, cities, school districts. But even those, because of the rising cost of medical trend and prescriptions, people are coming out from under that and starting to increase premiums. But even still, yours are way more attractive than TRS Active Care. So Willis was a trendsetter in really addressing the plan design issues and the funding early. So that brings us to your renewal. You have a recommendation in your board packet. I'll just go over that real quick. We are recommending that you stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield again for this year. Your funding levels to stay the same. Attached is also the funding summary. So we'll go through the recommendation first. The 23-24 renewal from Blue Cross Shield reflects a 7.4% increase in cost with a new maximum renewal cost of $7.8 million. The expected health plan cost is $7 million. The current district and employee funding based on 939 employees and 220 dependent units produces an approximate annual funding of 6.9. So I think that's what basically Garrett was trying to address earlier, is that because the plan typically runs at expected and not at max, the funding that you've set aside this year should be sufficient in the event that you run into that $114,000 shortfall, then that would come from that insurance fund. And then real quick, I don't know, yeah, you guys have this one. So we'll just show you right now, when you guys are looking at claims, the top line specific stop loss, that is where your liability for one particular member stops. So if you have a catastrophic claim that costs $400,000, once you hit that 160, you get paid back the difference. Okay, that's what that specific stop loss insurance covers, is your liability. And then if we look down lower, you'll see that there's an aggregate premium. The aggregate premium covers the group as a whole. So you have that specific individual coverage, and then you also have coverage for the group in the event there's very high utilization. Doesn't happen very often. I think in the time that I've been with Willis, which is almost 9 years, you've hit your aggregate one time in that time span. It doesn't happen very often. It just is a year of high utilization. And then you'll notice that your admin cost actually went down. So your administration last year was $275,000. So you did get some admin credits this year that brought that fixed cost down, and those are hard dollars. Those are dollars you know you're gonna spend. So that's a great credit. And then the total of the 7.836354. So that's what you're looking at for this year as part of your maximum cost. Any questions on that or the funding split? Hey. Well, you're so welcome. I think we do have to make a motion.
Make the motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve Blue Cross Blue Shield as the district's health insurance carrier, and to approve the monthly funding levels as proposed in the funding level exhibit for the 2023-2024 plan year.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Mr. Perry. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Perfect. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you so much.
Item B, Discuss and consider approval of Lynn Lucas Middle School rooftop HVAC piping installation and branch piping replacement.
We'll bring Mr. Paul Deucebat out to give us the information for the HVAC piping and insulation at Lynn Lucas Middle School.
Thank you, Ms. Goldsby, Mr. President, board members, Ms. Rogers. We're bringing you a proposal this evening to remove and replace the piping installation on the hot and cold chilled water piping at Lynn Lucas. Just to give you a little bit of history, we did some roof work on Lucas in the 05-06 year, so that's about how old most of the piping currently is. There is some old insulation that has degraded over time just from the product itself, from people walking on it, standing on it. Over the course of time, it has gotten to a point where we need to address it. What we're trying to do is prevent a catastrophic failure of our system at Lucas, which would necessitate us closing the school. I don't envision that happening, but I don't want to put us in that situation. So we are bringing this proposal to you this evening. Essentially, what we're going to do is strip off the old insulation. Then we'll go in and inspect all that piping. If there are issues at play there, we will address the piping and replace it before we go back and re-insulate it. Prior to insulating again, we're going to paint it so it doesn't rust. Then we're going to wrap the pipe again. And in addition to that, we're going to complete some of the walkovers for essentially what that means. It provides you kind of a stairway to step over the pipe instead of having to climb on top of the sucker itself. Sorry, pardon my language. We're also going to be really trying to complete this project before we enter into our winter months. So our goal is to try and accomplish this by about the beginning, mid part of November. So we don't have exposed piping when the weather starts to change, which would lead to another particular issue, which would be freezing. So we want to avoid that if at all possible. Just to give you a little background on what we're looking at, Lynn Lucas is probably our second business facility. It's probably about 231,000 square feet. And it's also one of our older facilities. And we have always tried to bring you proposals that will not only build new facilities, but take good care of the ones that we have. So we're good custodians of the equipment and the schools that we've been given to take care of. That said, the proposal we're bringing you this evening is from the lowest bidder in this process, which is going to be Phoenix Insulator Company, for the amount of $2,070,388. There is a pay for performance bill bond included there for $24,654. And you will also notice there is an alternate one, which is an owner-held contingency. This does not go to the contractor. This is the district reserving this particular amount of money, which is about $600,000. So that if we get into the project and we find we have a tremendous amount of piping to do it, we've already put that into our budget so that we can address it then, and we don't have to come back to you again, hopefully, and say, oops, I made a mistake, now I need some more money. So it gives us a little safety pattern. If we don't spend that money, we don't spend that money. So we're asking your permission this evening for approval of the total package that we're asking for is $2,694,992.
Mr. Jones.
I'm gonna have a few comments first. I spent a lot of time, Mr. Sabak and his team on this. Lynn Lucas, right now, we have a chiller that's gonna be getting replaced, we think sometime this upcoming year. And we're gonna go from air-cooled to water-cooled. It's a lot more efficient, it's a lot better situation. We spent a lot of time to make sure the stuff that we're about to do, we're not gonna be redoing, okay? This pipe out there has already had several busts, and when that happens, it shuts down. This pipe, over a period of time, it's just gotten so deteriorated in certain areas that we're really at that risk, and we just can't do that. I love that the alternate's in there, because if they see pipe that's gonna get replaced, they're gonna come look at the district, they're gonna get everybody's thumbs up, everybody's on the same page on what's going on. We just can't afford not to do it. And we spent a lot of time over there. I've spent a lot of time myself on this, and it's just something I think we need to do, so I'd like to make a motion if I could.
Yes, sir.
I move the board accept the superintendent's recommendation to expend $2,694,992 from the 2020 bond issue funds for the Lynn Lucas Middle School rooftop HVAC piping installation and branch piping replacement. I want to make sure everybody also, he didn't mention we're going to put new hangers up there to support this pipe correctly. There's a lot of stuff that's going to go into this, and I'm looking forward to seeing the before and after this project.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further questions? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0, and we appreciate Mr. Jones and you, Paul, being out there in the heat, because I know it was about 99 yesterday, so at least you weren't in an attic.
Thank you, Board. We appreciate it.
So, item C, discuss, consider approval to purchase over $50,000 career and technology agricultural program vehicle.
Yes, we'll ask Mr. Mate to discuss the item for the CTE Ag Program vehicle.
Good evening, Board. Ms. Goolsby, Ms. Carrot. Tonight, the district is requesting approval to purchase a new vehicle for our ag program. This would replace a 2006 Ford F-350, which I have been told has left a few people stranded this year with some engine issues. The replacement truck would be a 2023 Chevrolet 2500 two-wheel drive crew cab with a 6.6 liter V8 diesel engine, so it would be a diesel truck. The truck would be purchased from Buckaloo Chevrolet through RFP 21-10-07. As for the old truck, we do plan to repurpose it for our maintenance department. We're going to have the engine issues fixed, repurpose it for maintenance, for district-wide maintenance, and it'll also be available if the ag program does need to use it for any reason. It was still in district and still available for use. I'd be happy to answer any of the questions.
Ms. Traylor?
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the purchase from Buckaloo Chevrolet in the amount of $54,470 from Function 11.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Coach Perry. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Our ag department will be excited.
That's a good price. That's a real good price.
From what I've seen, it really is.
It really is.
So item D, discuss and consider approval of out-of-state professional development.
So our online partnership with Elevate K-12, we started that partnership last year, and that was because of the teacher shortages across the district. When we began the year last year, it was 64 sections that we needed covered for student instruction. That partnership, we are looking to improve that. And by doing that, Elevate K-12 has actually reached out to us and offered 2 plane tickets to Chicago for our executive director of secondary and our associate from the high school to join their conference, where they're able to partner and network with people that have been doing Elevate online learning, so that when we start and welcome our kids back to the high school, the 16 sections rather than the 64, because that's how well Mr. King has hired. I want to give him kudos and his team. They've done a tremendous job. It's every day. So we're looking at potentially 16 sections that we're still going to need for online coverage. So Mr. Valiente and Mrs. Prewer would actually be paid as far as their travel and expenses to go join this conference where there are additional users, to where we can be better prepared, and they can also know our needs in Willis, Texas. So we want to be able to accept that invite to very little cost, to no or very little cost, a few meals here and there, but we would like to be able to send them to have that opportunity so that we're better prepared for this next experience.
Mr. Carson?
I move that the board accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve out-of-state travel for 2 employees to the Elevate K-12 conference in Chicago, Illinois.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Item E, discuss and consider approval of Region 6 ESC contractual services for the 2023-2024 school year.
Good evening, Mr. President, Board of Trustees, Ms. Goolsby, Ms. Rogers. And tonight we're seeking approval of the Region 6 contracted services for the 23-24 school year. Texas Education Code permits regional service centers to provide services to assist school districts in moving student performance and increasing efficiency and effectiveness of schools and district operations. This allows Willis ISD to enter into a cooperative agreement with Region 6 to provide services at an agreed-on price that is more affordable than independent contracts with the contracted businesses. The following Region 6 contracted services will be needed for the 23-24 school year, and you have those in front of you tonight.
Ms. Traylor?
I move that the board accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the 2023-24 contracted services with Region 6 ESC.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Item F, discuss and consider approval of TASP Local Board Policy Update 121.
Mr. Mansfield is going to present the update for the local policies.
All right, good evening, Board, Mr. President, Ms. Goolsby, Ms. Carroll. So in your packet is the TASB Update 121 that is brought to us. And we are asking for action on that tonight. And I will be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, sir.
I move that the board accept the superintendent's recommendation to add, revise, or delete local policies as offered by TASB Policy Service for consideration and according to the instruction sheet for TASB Localized Policy Manual Update 121, the local policy changes as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Ms. Lagway. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Board member comments. Just want to say thank you, especially to Mr. Jones as a board member, getting up there and investigating. When we're spending $2.6 million, that's a lot of money. When we talk about that AC unit is heating and cooling 231,000 or whatever the square footage is. That's a lot of work, and so we appreciate you taking care of that this week and helping the board make an educated decision. We also appreciate the acting superintendent today. In the past couple of days, working with her since she started on Monday, we're in good hands. She's doing a great job for us, and she's not. She's been a great asset to me the last couple of days in trying to get things worked out. Coming from a private sector, I'm just learning to understand how things have to be posted. How you've got to make decisions, and it's not simple as making a phone call this afternoon and getting it in place. So a lot of things I'm learning. I appreciate her help this week. And we go to the next one is future business meetings.
Next regular monthly meeting will be Wednesday, August 9th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m.
Perfect. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Right here. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Carson, second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Thank y'all for coming.